This war is not for territories, because Russia is huge, they don't need more territories. It is not for natural resources, because Russia has everything. It is not for people, because Russia at least 7-8 times larger in terms of population than Ukraine. So what it is all about? Do we have the right of self-defense? Or we should quit and love our Russian enemies?
The Russian war against Ukraine challenged the ecumenical consensus on just peace. The European Consultation on Just Peace, organized within the framework of the Pathways to Peace initiative, is a unique opportunity of encounter between Ukrainian and other European churches. It gives us an opportunity to reflect together as a fellowship of European churches on these important ethical questions that have been raised in our societies since the outbreak of the war against Ukraine.
Shouted confrontations were frequent and fiery
Just peace is a wide concept that is discussed in so many disciplines, but we also in the ecumenical global family, we have discussed it, we have developed it over decades, I must say. It started, if you want to think about history of the ecumenical movement, you could say it even started at 100 years ago at the first World Conference for Life and Work, never discussing it without justice, because justice is an essential element of peace building, as we know. Always the question of violence was at the heart of the debate. European churches have lived through 2 world wars in the 20th century, and out of that grew a strong peace movement on all sides. And this strong peace movement within the churches, but also outside of the churches, has contributed constantly to the development of just peace, of an understanding that conflicts must be resolved in a non-violent way. The development of international law has played into that. Now, today we see, of course, that this is very fragile. So we are at the moment in a situation where we all wrestle with these questions in a new context, in a new way.
The 3 main points, or the 3 main aspects of this consultation, this conference, I would say are the following. First is the diversity. It is a spanning, perhaps, of Christian churches that have come together. We see the various aspects and the branches of Christians coming to dialogue. So that is one expression, is the diversity. Number 2 is we've come from different places, different understandings. We've come from London, for example. People have come from Ukraine, Germany, France, on down the line. The most inspiring thing is probably the interaction that takes place.
Most important for us here at this conference is to lift our voice about real situation in Ukraine, because war is going on. People dying every day. We see a lot of needs among people, millions of refugees. Just peace for us is when evil is punished and people's rights is restored. Justice is restored. It is our desire to move from war to just peace.
Українці борються вже понад 1000 днів, відстоюючи право на свободу. Ми хочемо бути невід'ємною частиною європейської спільноти. Адже від справедливого миру в Україні залежить майбутнє також і Європи. І ми відкриті до діалогу, до спілкування для того, щоб всі православні в Україні об'єдналися і були в єдиній церкві, служили Богові, служили інтересам українського народу. Також ми вдячні всім європейським церквам за підтримку в цей непростий час, за підтримку наших українських біженців, які перебувають тимчасово поза межами своєї держави. Ми дякуємо всім християнам за підтримку, гуманітарну підтримку, за візити, які відбуваються до України у цей непростий час. Для нас це дуже важливо, тому ми дякуємо і просимо про подальшу молитву за утвердження справедливого миру в Україні.
Putin decided to genocide Ukrainian nation. And Ukraine would like to be a separated, independent states, keeping our identity, both national identity and our Christian identity. Because historically, we belong to the West, not to Russian Empire. Most of the peace theology in European countries, in European churches, and peacemaking processes have been developed in the situation of peace. But there is another level. So many theories does not work when you are talking about the war. And we should develop probably better and more profound and more biblical and more realistic understanding of just peace and our peacemaking approaches and strategies.
Just peace is a complex concept, and in Italy we have a memory of the resistance against Nazism and fascism, so the construction of just peace cannot come without looking for justice. The worst is when the religious people instrumentalize the religion because they don't have the meaning that the word of God is outside us and not in our hand to be manipulated.
Wir können nicht sagen, das ist nicht unser Krieg, weil wir haben auch zu Hause keinen Strom. Unsere Armeepflichter, Männer müssen auch in Krieg gehen und unsere Menschen auch sterben. Es ist egal, welche Sprache sie reden. Das ist so ist. Dass wir können nicht sagen, das ist nicht unsere, weil in unseren Schulen, Kindergärten, auch in Privathäusern wohnen Flüchtlinge. Nach dem 24. Februar die erste geistliche Krieg, kann ich so nennen, war die Dämonisierung. Die Russen haben die Ukrainer dämonisiert, die Ukrainer haben die Russen dämonisiert. Und wann die Gegner dämonisieren sie sich, das ist eine geistliche Ebene. Und in dieser Situation, wir haben eine schlechte Situation, weil die letzte Plattform, die kirchliche Plattform, wo wir können reden miteinander. Aber die russische orthodoxe Kirche ist nicht da.
We have to have a critical, self-critical discourse and not just blaming the other, instrumentalizing something, because it hinders us in really understanding what the real roots of conflict in our religions are. Our Christianity is not just a peaceful religion. We are fostering conflict, fostering hatred, fostering intolerance in relation to other social groups. Christianity in general fosters conflict by some teachings which are inside Christianity.
The Russian Orthodox Church is very exclusivist. In Russia, it doesn't allow for religious freedom and non-traditional religions. And then it is exclusivist on the occupied territories of Ukraine. And if we dig deeper even, there's some suspicion in the church on human rights comes from the suspicion in the church towards the positive value of human freedom. You have a church which doesn't really deeply accept the idea of human rights because it's something dangerous, although it can instrumentalize this idea when it needs it. I also belong to the Sophia Brotherhood, a movement, an initiative within Ukraine which unites clergy and laity promoting a different kind of orthodoxy, which would lead to just peace in Ukraine.
In Ukraine, we are using one voice, saying that dignity, it is something that God gives us, and as well as freedom, as well as human being that we are. And it's very painful that from our neighbors that represent Russian Orthodox Church, we don't feel such messages. They just blessing the war, they saying it's a holy war, they blessing soldiers. So even the Orthodox theologians saying that today's Russian Orthodoxy has nothing to do with Orthodoxy, even more nothing to do with Christianity. We want to be in a peaceful country, and we hear this from all leaders, from Bishop of Constantinople, from Bishop of Rome, we need to stop this war, but there is no answer from Russian Federation.
I'm also very glad and thankful that so many representatives of different member churches of the Conference of European Churches were here in Warsaw with us. It was really a gathering, it was really a listening to each other and learning from each other. So that was a step forward also for us in the Conference of European Churches, I would say. It was a very rich outcome, and it's difficult to summarize it in a few sentences. But what I would like to underline is that I think we got a lot of questions by this consultation, like the question, what does it mean to speak about just peace in time of a war, where people really experience a war, experience that people die, that they are overrun by an invasion by the Russian army, and how to speak then of just peace when they ask what is with our territory, what is about our security, what is about our life in the future and now in the present. So that was very much challenges all of us, and I think we have not finished the debate and discussion, and we have to work on these questions together with the members of the Orthodox churches and the churches in the Ukraine.